Hey, what's going on, and welcome to the channel. So today I want to talk about building material prices. And recently during COVID and all the stuff going on with the tariffs and all this, material prices have gone through the roof. No pun intended, but I guess pun intended. Material prices have just blown up. So I was on a job that I started in February, I think. It was a bathroom job, and we were working on it, and then mid-March we got shut down, and the lady I'm working for, didn't want anybody in the house, and I don't blame her. I didn't want to work anyway. And we're renovating that entire house. So after I finish this bathroom, I've got another bathroom and a kitchen, and we're redoing all the floors and moving windows, and I mean, I'm gonna be there for a couple years. It's like a long time job. And so that got shut down, and the part that we were on, the bathroom, I had already installed the drywall, and we were installing the shower stuff when everything got shut down. We had just hit the shower base. So when I went back after COVID, it was like I got to hang Durock, finish the drywall, prime it, and do the tile, and I already had all that material on site. Now, when I went to go buy things since then, I haven't really bought much in the way of material. It was all been tile stuff and whatever. And so that stuff was all on site. And if not, I go to the tile place. And, I always think materials are expensive, but a lot of times I don't even really look at the receipt because I need the material. I bring it back and then I bill the customer, and it's just how it goes. The material costs are what they are. But where I started to see this was I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a contractor, and he was telling me that the material prices are just ridiculous, astronomical. And so I had to I had to give an estimate for a porch. It's a little porch on the front of a house, and they want to do like a whole big farmer's porch, 40 foot long. And I had some numbers in my head that I thought it was going to be based on my experience with decking and whatever we were going to do. They didn't want anything super fancy. In fact, they wanted the ceiling exposed to the rafters, so it wasn't like I had to put any ceiling up or anything like that. It was just like rustic kind of farmy porch. So I got some numbers together for that, and we had a budget that him and I had done a walk around and talked about it, and I told him that I thought the whole job was going to be maybe around 20 grand. And then I went home and I did some labor estimates, and I came up with like $10,000 or $11,000 for labor, thinking, another $10,000 for materials, maybe a little bit more, it'll be like 20, 22, somewhere in there for the whole thing. Well, when I did the material prices, they were not $10,000 or $12,000. They were $22,000, I think it was. So the total job cost that I thought was going to be 20 grand ended up being $33,000. To which he replied, no, we're not going to do the job. And so I feel bad for contractors that gave bid prices for jobs like 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and they're on that job still. And right now these prices are just blowing up, and they're stuck with the number that they gave their customer. Where what I do on all my jobs is I tell everybody it's all time and materials. I rarely give a price for something because something like this comes up, or there's a million reasons that a job can go over budget. But in this particular instance, COVID and the borders being shut down and the tariffs and everything is just making everything so expensive and hard to get. Like pressure treated lumber was like unavailable in New York for seemed like months. They'd get a shipment and it was gone that day, and they were like, we'll get one eventually someday, we don't know when. And it's been this really uneasy thing as far as the materials are concerned. So I gave the estimate for this job that I think was going to be $20,000. Turns out $33,000 was the number. So I didn't get the job, right? And we're going to rework it, and we'll talk over the winter, and we'll figure it out for the spring maybe, and downscale, and maybe not do the whole farmer's porch. We'll just redo what's there and maybe replace another little deck that they've got, which wasn't even part of the job that they were talking about adding on. So I was in the lumberyard today, and they haven't seen me much because I've been doing this tile job and drywall and stuff. I'm not in there buying a lot of materials. Like, it's all stuff that's like, you go in, you buy the stuff, you're there for a week working on it, you know. So he mentioned something to me about material prices being really high, and I said, well, how much do you think they've raised? And he basically said he thinks that they've doubled, at least doubled by now. And that was a little shocking. So that explains why it went from, you know, me thinking the materials were going to be $10,000, $11,000 to them being like $12,000. That's basically double. So I also asked him, like, is that deterring a lot of people? Like, is business slow then? And he said, no, they're busy. People are still spending money. They must have like unlimited bank accounts, you know? And so I found that very interesting. I mean, it seems like everybody's working around here. All the contractors seem super busy, as always. So it hasn't seemed to hurt that. I just am a little fearful of the guys who put prices out for jobs saying this is what it's going to be, what it is, and then it's not. So just a word to the wise there. That's basically it in a nutshell what I wanted to talk about today. Material prices are always increasing. I don't know if they ever decrease. Although I said that about gas prices and they've gone way down. So who knows? So what I do know is I've got a lot of materials that I need to buy still for my house to finish up. And it makes me a little, you know, cautious going, well, do I just wait a year and see if this all calms down, levels out a little bit? You know, is this going to rebound or is this going to just keep going up? And I was reading an article just a little while ago that was saying that not only are material prices going up, but then the labor prices are going down because the, you know, supply and demand, there's apparently not a ton of work out there, and there's a lot of people in the trades, and I think a lot of people that are now out of work have joined into these workforces that, you know, people that normally have desk jobs are now working with their hands doing things, you know, and that means the labor market is a little oversaturated right now. So it sounded like people aren't getting as much as they would like for their labor. But that all depends on where you are in the country and the world and all that, yada, yada, yada. So I know in my area, it seems like everybody's doing all right. Everybody seems to be busy, so hopefully it stays that way. I guess time will tell. So if you have been following me on this channel for any period of time, you might notice that it looks a little different behind me. Maybe you notice that I'm in a different spot in the room, or that I'm sitting in a new chair. And you might even notice that I look different. And that's because I have totally upgraded my office. It's not done yet, but I'm in the midst of changing everything out. I got a new computer that I built myself. I actually took a video on it because it was nothing I'd ever done before. That'll actually be going on my personal channel because it's not carpentry related, but I did a teaser about it in the last video. So if you're interested in seeing me build a computer for the first time, check out my personal channel. There's a link down in the description for that. But what I'm recording on right now is my new Canon M50, which is basically like the beginner's camera, a step above using a cell phone or an action camera. So I had started my channel with my cell phone, and then I moved up to a GoPro, and now I've moved up again to this camera. And part of why I got this too was to take good pictures, because I like taking pictures. So I have definitely gone into a little bit of debt by upgrading everything and building this office out. But I think it's going to make me more productive, and the new computer is going to make this video editing so much easier and so much better. So I'm actually going to edit this video this is my first video I'm going to edit on the computer right now. So I'm super pumped about that. Interested to see how it goes. Hoping that it works better than my laptop, which just died. And yeah, we'll see. So anyway, very long story short. If you got anything out of this video, give me a thumbs up down below. Make sure you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about material prices or technology or whatever. Just say hi. I don't care. And I respond to all the messages I can. Especially if you ask me a question, I will respond. And yeah, I guess that's it. If you're not a regular here and you're new, consider subscribing to this channel. So, all right. I think that's enough out of me for today. So see you later. Bye.